Hello and welcome to In the Mix. This is John Galloway and this is CrossBones MMA Radio. Today, as we step into the world of mixed martial arts, I'm going to be joined by my newest friend and my newest acquisition for Titan FC, and that is none other than Scott Cutbirth. Scott, John, CrossBones MMA, how's it going?
It's going good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So, as I just briefly touched on, you're the newest acquisition for Titan. Not on the fighter side, but on the matchmaking side. How did that come about?
Well, I'm glad it's not the fighting side because I don't like getting punched in the face. But, I was with RFA for 2.5 years since they started. I was the very first employee over there. Made the decision to go ahead and leave there, started my own little promotion that I'm going to continue to do, but just got the itch to get back into it, and Jeff gave me a call and said, hey, we got a lot of shows coming up next year. We could really use your help. What do you think? And I was excited to be a part of what they're doing.
Now, what was your role at RFA? Were you the matchmaker there as well?
I was the matchmaker and janitor.
Everything, top to bottom, huh?
That's right. Well, they've got a good staff of guys over there, but I pretty well. I signed all the talent and made all the fights and followed up on contracts, blood work, all that stuff.
Now, you also mentioned that you have another side thing going that you're going to keep going. Is that a similar position that you hold at that organization?
Owner / promoter / janitor / everything else. That's something. It's a lot smaller role. It's a promotion called Survivor Fighting Alliance. It's kind of based off of trying to help people, not just as far as fighting in the cage, but helping people outside of the cage. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer 20 years ago this December, and she's in her 6th battle, but she's still here 20 years later. She was given 6 months to live, and she's still here, still fighting. So there's lots of survivors outside of the cage, and this was an opportunity to try to do something to help people with autism, with PTSD, with cancer, whatever it is. So that's just on a smaller local scene. It's a small program where we try to help somebody within the community.
That sounds like a phenomenal cause right there, and congratulations and continued health for your mother there. But yeah, that's an organization that I think not only fight fans but the general public can get behind, because it's really about a great cause right there. How exactly? What region do you put those together in?
They're all in the Midwest. We just did our first show here a couple weeks ago in Hannibal, Missouri, which is home of Mark Twain, and that's about what they got going for them. So, small little wrestling community off of the Mississippi River. So we did our first show there. Went well, and we're looking to do our next show sometime maybe mid-February.
Nice. Well, now let's get back to Titan real quick. Tell me about what your role is going to be over there. I know you're going to be partnering up with an old buddy of yours and Joe Wooster. But what else are you going to be taking on over there?
Well, obviously I'm going to be helping with the matchmaking and signing talent and things like that. Like I said, they have a ridiculous amount of shows next year. So, Joe has been the matchmaker over there since Chef and those guys took over. And Joe's one of my best friends. So we live 3 minutes from each other. So it's just a good fit. And I'm going to be helping with matchmaking and finding talent, and as well as some on the Alchemist side of things as well, with some of the younger prospects, things like that.
Yeah, in the press release that they had mentioned, they mentioned that you were going to be doing the matchmaking as well as wearing other hats, including helping some of the younger up-and-coming fighters. Now, how exactly is that role going to morph into? What exactly is going to be entailed with that?
I don't have a good answer for that yet. We're still kind of new into this, and I'm just trying to get my feet wet and figure out the processes of everything, get familiar with the Titan staff and the Alchemist staff, and basically learn how they do things, and then we'll move forward from there.
Well, Now, on the one side that you said fighter acquisition, how exactly does one go about fighter acquisition? Clearly, you have an in with Alchemist Management, a way to contact fighters when they become available. But how do you go out and cultivate new talent? How exactly do you go about doing that?
I watch a lot of films. I rent just about every private pay-per-view there is. Like Battlegrounds tomorrow, I'll be watching that. And, I just pay attention to all of the regional markets and how guys are doing there. And I have a lot of good contacts at pretty much every major gym in the country. So I know when somebody hasn't really been seen yet, to look after them, because typically somebody has told me, hey, take a look at this guy. This business is all about who you know, I guess. I just try to know as many people as possible.
Absolutely, having a good network of people is definitely key. Now, I gotta ask you, when it comes to the matchmaking side, the actual setting up the fights and deciding who's gonna fight who, how do you guys go about doing it? Do you sit down and discuss just what would be exciting fights? Do you sit down and discuss, rankings and who should fight who? Do any of those things play into it, or is it just who's available, timelines? Tell me about the matchmaking side.
I guess there's a lot of different variables, really. My style while I was at RFA was, hey, I'm a fan. I'm going to make the fights I want to watch. Because chances are, I'm nobody special. I'm just a fan that was lucky enough to get put in the position that I get to make the fights I want to see. So that's really what I care to do. I don't care so much about the records or the rankings or things like that, because those things will take care of themselves. So I just look at what I feel is going to be exciting fights for guys that we can help build. And I don't give anybody a fight that, when I say we help build, they got to earn it. So if I have two guys that I think are great prospects and I think it's going to be a great fight, well, guess what? They're probably going to fight each other. So I'm not protecting anybody or anything like that. It's making the fights that I want to see.
Now, when we watch as fans and we see organizations at the end of an event, there's usually the post-fight press conference. During those events, a lot of times, you'll get somebody in the media asking, what's next for the guy who won the fight? What's next for the guy who lost the fight? How does that work out? Before you sit down with these guys before the fight, are you laying out groundwork saying, if you win this fight, this will be the next step that you take? If you lose, we step over here? Or is it really just all as it goes, as it develops?
It's a little bit of both. I typically, I'm not going to tell a fighter, hey, if you win this, this is where I'm looking to do, what I'm looking to do with you. But I have a plan A, plan B, and plan C typically in my mind, just because there's so many different variables that could come up, whether it's a guy has proven himself and gets called up to the UFC. That's the whole goal, is to help promote these guys and get them to the next level, not just to the next level, but ready to be at the next level. So if a guy gets called up, or an injury happens, or we move venues from this location to that location, there's just so many different variables. But there's typically a plan A, B, and C already in the back of my mind or penciled out on paper. It's just not something I'm going to discuss with the fighters, because there's too many different things that could change that up in the process.
Sure. Now, with Titan, they have their motto, which is the fans, fighters first. A couple of times, just in the past couple of events that they've had, we've seen fighters that were scheduled, even the headline in the case of Ben Saunders, get recalled or get called back to the UFC. What does that do for you when you're setting up these matches? Do you automatically have to have an alternate available? Do you just try to keep your tabs on what the possibilities are that could happen, or is it again just kind of a take it as it goes and wish them the best and wish them luck and then try to fill their spot? How does that belief by Jeff and Titan that they release their fighters if the UFC comes calling. How does that play with you as a matchmaker?
Well, when I was at the RFA, I think I had 7 consecutive main events fall-offs. Many times for guys getting called to the UFC or injuries, whatever it may be. And in all those scenarios, typically I have a backup plan in my head. If this happens, this is what I can do. Again, there's a lot of different variables. What market we're in, what we're trying to promote for that general area. So, that stuff used to stress me out and bother me, but everything happens for a reason, and typically when something like that happens, things work out for the better anyway. So it's not something that we stress about. We go with the punches and move forward, and like I said, typically we have a backup option ready to go.
Excellent. Now, we have a bunch of events coming up for Titan, scheduled a couple throughout the end of this year, and then I believe we're looking at 14 for next year. How quickly will it be before you're stepping in and setting up matches? Is it on the next card or two, or is there a leeway between you coming in this week and then when your hands are actually on the match card?
Well, I'll tell you this: I was already looking at this next card before I even took the job. So I've been actively working on a few of the things for this next card. And, like I said, Joe Wooster's been my best friend for years and years now, and I've been pretty well in tune with what's been going on. Anyway, but I am helping now with the matchmaking effective today.
Excellent.
Or 2 days ago, or whenever it was. Time's flying by now that the Royals are winning.
Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to let you go. I understand you're a busy guy, especially now with the added responsibilities of Titan Fighting Championships. But we are absolutely, as fans, looking forward to seeing your handiwork in and outside of the cage. And absolutely, when SFA has another event, we wish you the best and hope you help out those that are in the local community where it's going to be taking place. Sounds like a fantastic organization and really worthwhile cause. So I want to thank you very much for your time.